Hello, welcome back to Planet 40k. We're on our Christmas grind with our Countdown to Christmas series. It's now the 16th of December and we've got another video for you today. But before we do that, just make sure you subscribe below to not miss out on any future content. So it's a simple concept. What would you pick? And you're either Team Necrons or Team Space Marines. I'm sure you know how this works by now. And so far, the scores are currently 8-7 in favour of Team Necrons. So today we've got the Ghost Ark going up against the Marine Impulsor. Both of them of course are transport options, so we're going to be comparing them today. So the Ghost Ark is coming in at 145 points and the Marine Impulsor is coming in between 110 and 135 points, depending on your upgrade, so it's slightly less, but let's see how they fare going against one another. So let's check out the stat line to begin with. The Impulsor's got a bit of extra movement with that 14-inch movement. It's got a bit of strength and toughness, although it does only have 11 wounds as opposed to the Ghost Ark's 14. But all in all, just on pure stats alone, we've got to give it to the Impulsor. Now I know there is quantum shielding, so that toughness isn't as important, but pure stats alone, the Impulsor wins it. Now as for the abilities, the Ghost Ark's got Living Metal to regain lost wound, which is nice on a degrading stat line. It's got Command Protocols, which are quite likely going to be using, because Necron Warriors are likely going to be near a character, and the Ghost Ark's also going to be near Necron Warriors. It's got the Quantum Shielding as mentioned, so it's got a 5+ invulnerable save, but you can't wound it on less than a 4+. It's got the Hovering ability, and the Explode ability, as it's a vehicle. But the unique ability here is the Repair Barge, so you can bring back D3 Lost Warriors within 6 inches every single turn. You then got to further add that it's a transport, and you can carry either 10 Necron Warriors or a single infantry character. And it's got to be a Dynasty character. Now I'm not really keen on the transport capacity of the Ghost Ark. Ideally you want to be putting 20 warriors in, or at least 10 warriors and a character, but you can't do both. Now the Marine Impulsor is also a transport, but it's also got its limitations. You can only take 6 chapter Primaris infantry models, and they can't be jump pack models or MKX Gravis armor models. So you're really tied down on what you can actually put inside those things. Now in terms of abilities, it's got the Angels of Death, so the combat doctrines in particular is going to have an effect with the AP on all the weapons. It's got the Assault Vehicle ability, so units that are embarked within transport can disembark even after the transport's made a normal move this phase, but then they're not able to charge that turn. I'm not really sure if I like that ability or not. We'll talk about that in a moment. It's then got the Hover Tank ability and the Explode ability, very similar to the Ghost Ark there. So that Assault Vehicle ability, I'm not quite sure why you'd use it, because if you've got a melee unit within your Impulsor, they're better off staying within the transport for better protection, then coming out, moving, and then charge on their own turn. Whereas if the tank moves and then that melee unit got out, they can't actually charge, they just sit in ducks. So really it's only for a shooter unit, but because it's limited to a Primaris unit that doesn't have the MKX Gravis armor, so no Eradicators there, I'm thinking only really Hellblasters are useful there, but I definitely wouldn't be putting Hellblasters in this thing. So I'm not quite sure why I'd want to be using the Assault Vehicle ability. You'll have to let me know in the comments below why you would use it, because for me it's not that useful. Is it for the Assault Intercessors with their heavy bolt pistols? Let me know below. You then got to add the 2 upgrades here because they're ability based. So the Orbital Comms Array, where you could be throwing out D3 Mortal Wounds, it's 15 points, or the Shield Dome, which is a 5+ invulnerable save. Now this is an either or situation here, you can't select both of them, but that invulnerable save isn't too bad. But as far as abilities go, I've got to give it to the Ghost Ark there. Quantum Shielding and the Repair Barge are superior. Now as for the damage output, the Ghost Ark has got Gorse Flayer arrays, it's got 2 of them in fact, 24 inches, Rapid Fire 5, Strength 4, -1 AP and 1 damage. So when you're firing at rapid fire range, you're going to do roughly 8.9 wounds to toughness 3 models and 6.7 wounds to toughness 4 models. That's before any armor saves are made. And when you compare that to the Marine Impulsor's weapons, well, it's got 2 Frag Storm grenade launchers at 18-inch range, which assault D6, so you're roughly getting 7 shots with that. It does have the blast ability as well. You can add the Iron Hail Heavy Stubber for 5 points, which is 36-inch range, heavy 4, strength 4, -1 AP and 1 damage. And then if you didn't take the invuln save with that Shield Dome, you could instead take the Iron Hail Sky Talon array for 10 points, which is 36-inch range, heavy 8, strength 4, -1 AP and 1 damage. So lots of strength 4 weaponry there. Now if you're throwing all that together, roughly you're going to be doing 8.4 wounds to toughness 3 models or 6.3 wounds to toughness 4 models, which is slightly less on both accounts when you're going up against the Ghost Ark. Now you do have options with the Impulsor. Instead of taking the Shield Dome or the Iron Hail Sky Talon array, you can instead take the Bellicatus Missile array for 20 points, which is effectively a missile launcher, but it's also an Icarus missile. So when you're going against flies, it's a +1 to hit. Gives you a little bit more flexibility, but I just don't think it's worth 20 points. I'd rather take the other weapons. So for me, again, the Ghost Ark's winning the point here. Now onto the synergy. Of course, Ghost Arks are going to be synergizing with warriors. That's what they're there for, with the Repair Barge, bringing back D3 every turn. Now they've got some indirect synergy with the Technomancer with the Rites of Reanimation ability, because when you pair both the Ghost Ark and the Technomancer, between them they can be bringing back 2 lots of D3 Necron warriors every turn. There's also indirect synergy with the Royal Warden, because he's going to be getting those warriors out of combat, and an Overlord with the Resurrection Orb. to be bringing more warriors back if you wanted to. Now as for direct synergy with your dynasties, there's 3 that I would choose here. You've got the Mefrit dynasty to add range to those Gorse Flayers, you've got the Saltec dynasty to have a better range with the rapid fire weapons, again with those Gorse Flayers, or the Nihilak dynasty because this is quite a tanky model, especially with quantum shielding and 14 wounds, so putting this on an objective with objective secured is going to be pretty decent. Now in terms of stratagems, there's 2 in particular that I would use with the Ghost Arc: the quantum deflection so that your quantum shield inbound save goes to a 4+, or the reconstitution protocols, so that instead of bringing D3 warriors back, you bring D6 warriors back. Both pretty tasty stratagems there. Now when you're talking about the Marine Impulsor, again we're talking indirect synergy here. The melee chapters in particular with the Space Wolves, Black Templars and Blood Angels, you're going to be wanting Primaris infantry melee units coming out of this tank. Furthermore, you've got the Iron Hands, which helps with the damage characteristic table for that degrading stat line of your vehicle. And then finally the Salamanders, just for those added rerolls. Now in terms of direct synergy, well, you've got the Assault Intercessors which are going to go in there. You've got the Blade Guard Veterans, you've got the Standard Intercessors, or as mentioned already previously in the video, you've got the Hell Blasters which can also go in there. Then of course you can get some characters in there, whether it's a Primaris Captain, a Primaris Apothecary, or maybe a Primaris Justiciar. They'll want to go in there to help buff the melee units when they're getting into a battle. As for stratagem synergy, it's got the Grav Pulse stratagem for a command point, because it's got the Repulsor Field keyword, which allows it to fall back and still fire. Now it can fire into combat, but some of the weapons are heavy weapons, so they will incur a -1 to hit penalty when firing within combat. And also if you want to be using that missile launcher, some of those have got the blast keyword, and the Fragstorm grenade launcher as well has got the blast keyword, so you can't fire that into combat at all. But all in all, I think there's more synergy with the Marine Impulsor than there is with the Ghost Arc. With the Ghost Arc, you're playing a very specific list, usually Necron Warrior heavy, and you're building a fort within the centre of the battlefield. Then finally we're on to the Resiliency, and the Necrons usually take the point for the Resiliency topic because of the living metal and the quantum shielding in this case as well. Now yes, you can get the shield dome on the Marine Impulsor, but you can still wound it on less than a 4+, whereas with the quantum shielding you can't. And as mentioned, living metal you can regain in a lost wound each turn, which is very helpful with 14 wounds to begin with. So that point is going to the Ghost Arc. All in all, I've scored this contest 3 points to 2 in favour of the Ghost Arc. It does suffer slightly in the stats department and the synergy department. Other than that, it takes all the topics for me. That puts Team Necrons ahead, 9 points to 7. Let's see what tomorrow's video brings. Guys, that's the end of the video. Remember to like and subscribe and all that stuff. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.